Hey guys, welcome. Sports and Shorts of Swords. Got a special NBA season preview. See the headband? Let's go. I'm ready to go, people. So yeah, let's start this a little differently than others. Let me get that headband off. I'm not ready to play yet. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk hoops right now. This isn't a regular show. Sports and Shorts of Sorts with Ren City. This is our NBA preview, guys. This is what we wait for all year. It's finally here. NBA's here. Get your jerseys out. I got mine. Toss those headbands. Rock your fresh kicks. Do what you gotta do. Talk your shit. It's that time of the year. Every team has a chance right now. Nobody's lost yet. We're all in this. So yeah, anytime you get the chance to talk hoops, sign me up. But yeah, let's jump into some division previews. Let's see how's your team match up with mine. What do you think? I'm right on this? Let me know. Let's see what's up. Anybody, like I said, anybody is in it right now. Sure, Vegas has their odds, but let's go. Let's start with the Atlantic Division because I don't want to start West. The West is fucking wild this year, but the Atlantic, let's start there. The Raptors are there. We left Steady Freddy. He went to Houston to go on the bigger and better things, I guess. Replace him with Dennis Schroeder coming off FIBA World Cup win with Germany, and I don't see this as big a negative as some people say. Van Fleet, man, phenomenal, and what he did in Toronto was amazing. Coming in undrafted, becoming NBA champion, becoming All Star. Who wouldn't want a guy like that? He's a great vet. That's why Houston opened up their pockets to bring him in. And so I don't think starting point guard is going to be an issue. It's going to be the issue the Raptors have had a long time. The backup guard, Malachi Flynn. I think it's time to I don't see him getting an extension on that contract. I see him going, but let's play Marquis Noel. I know he's a smaller dude, but we saw what he did in the NCAA tournament. I'm thinking by the end of the year, this guy he's going to slither into the rotation. I think he's got to. What he can bring off the bench. I know defensively he's going to hurt you a bit, but he's a spark plug. Let's get him in there. But is this team a playoff team? That's what everyone's asking. You have Patrick Beverly coming out and saying, "Are Siakam and OG really dogs to be afraid of?" I think so. I think Pascal's going to make a little bit more of a leap. And OG, man, OG, he does it all on defense, but he's going to make a little bit bigger of an offensive jump. I think they get in the play in at least. From there, who knows? But I don't know. I think they have a good shot at it. Let's see if Scotty Barnes can evolve into that guy that, he looked like his rookie season. But this division, the Atlantic, I believe, belongs to the Celtics. I was a little weary about crowning the Celtics after they moved Marcus Smart and got Porzingis. I mean, offensively, that looks amazing, but is Porzingis going to stay healthy? How are you going to make up losing a guy like Marcus Smart? Cue Drew Holiday. That guy coming in changes everything. He's a championship caliber player on the Bucks. It's part of the reason they won the championship. So he'll guard your opposing team's best player. He'll do it without complaints. He's a guy they want. With him in the lineup, yeah, this is their division. Like, it'll be interesting to see how they match up with Joel Embiid or any other dominant big men. They're a little thin up front, especially losing Robert Williams, but Porzingis can stay on. So much of the NBA comes down to injuries, right? One big injury can change so much, but Porzingis is healthy on this team. Look out. I think Celtics going to win this division. But speaking of Embiid, last year's MVP, it's not your ideal situation. You have the James Harden factor, right? He's MIA, not wanting to ever play for Daryl Morey again, calling him a liar, and all this. So I don't know. With all that said, if he was coming back and everything was, damn Skippy, I think they'd be fine. But with all this shit going on, I don't see this team winning a title. Maybe they'll be a playoff team. They should be a playoff team, but I don't know about title aspirations. Nick Nurse, he saw what he did with the Raptors his first year coaching. Maybe he can come into Philadelphia and do the same thing. Regardless of what happens with James Harden, we're going to see the rise of Tyrese Maxey. This guy, he's going to be a legit scorer next to Embiid. Like, no offense to Tobias Harris, but Tyrese Maxey's going to be that guy in that role. So yeah, they could finish second in the division, or they could even be third and fourth. Like, it's very wide open, and we'll see how Embiid and Nurse get along, because we know how Harden's getting along. But if they're not going to take second, who's going to get it? New York Knickerbockers or the Villanova Wildcats, whatever you want to call them. They got that whole Villanova squad going with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and DiVincenzo, but RJ Barrett played great for Team Canada this summer. It was SGA getting a lot of the talk, deservedly so. But RJ Barrett played some big minutes for them, and I'm thinking he can raise his game a little more. I don't think he's peaked yet as an NBA player. He can still grow his game a bit. And with him and Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson picking up time with Team USA, like this team is going to be coming. They're going to be coming out of the gate ready to go. This is going to open up a lot more lanes for Julius Randle, and this team, they're going to be really good. They're going to be a tough outing. You know what Thibodeau is going to have that team doing. As long as he doesn't run these boys in the ground, it's going to be a pretty good start for New York, and they're going to start having a parade after a few weeks of New York Knicks basketball. But we might have to tamper those a bit. But yeah, it should be exciting to be a Knicks fan this year. That leaves the Brooklyn Nets, the other team in New York. This team, true wild card. They're young and they can take on anyone. But the big factor here, Ben Simmons, is he's talking the talk. He's saying he's going to come back wanting to be better than before. And he was an all-star. So if Ben Simmons can come back to that level, Mikal Bridges, Cam Jones, this is a young team. If that's what I mean, true wild card. I have them finishing in the bottom of this division, but if shit gets hot and Simmons plays like he did before with Mikal Bridges growing off his Team USA play as well, they could usurp some of the before mentioned teams for the playoff or play-in spot. But yeah, love it. That's why I love the beginning. All these teams, like as I'm previewing them, I'm like, okay, you can see different arguments for why they can make it. You gotta put realistic thoughts out there rather than these wild ambitions that go through. But hey, that's why we watch, and I think I got a pretty good idea with this though. But we'll see. We'll go to the Central Division. And all people have been talking about are the Milwaukee Bucks, and deservedly so. When they acquired Damian Lillard from Portland Trailblazers, I was a little surprised. I didn't see the Bucks coming in. All the talk with Miami. So when they came in, and you thought, wow, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, that's a pretty good one too. I know it's tough losing Drew Holiday. Like I said, he's a championship caliber player, but this one too, it's got to be one of the best duos in the league. So are you gonna give up the three to Lillard, or are you gonna get dunked on by Giannis? Or if you manage to somehow stop those guys, you have Chris Middleton, Malik Beasley, and Brooks Splash Mountain Lopez spotting up, ready to knock it down. Like this team's going to put up some big offensive numbers. It's a lot of pressure on Adrian Griffin, coming in for Coach Bud to, live up to the expectations of the Bucks, because this is a title team. They have to win a title. This is title or bust. This isn't, hey, we got the number one seed. No, this team needs to win a title, especially though Damian Lillard having a ring. It's title or bust. But watch out for rookie Marjan Beauchamp. This guy is an athletic freak, which will fit right in with this team. So, yeah, Bucks, I have them being dominant all year, taking this division. And good news for them, Antetokounmpo signed a 3-year contract extension worth $886 million. Yikes. So that's big money. But yeah, the Bucks, I see them cruising. Another team in the Central Division, I think they're going to shock people, like the Sacramento Kings shocked people last year. This is my bold Ren City prediction, I guess. But I'm talking about the Indiana Pacers. You have youngsters Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard, both Canadian, by the way, ready to step into a larger role. Miles Turner, he'll be playing even bigger. The signing of Obi Toppin, I think, is underrated. He fit in with the Knicks, but I didn't think he was getting enough time. Maybe he wasn't as good defensively for what Thibodeau was asking, but I think he's going to be doing great things with the Pacers, and not just through the leg in-game dunks, which he does, which is amazing. But this team will go as far as Tyrese Halliburton will take them. He picked up some good time with the Team USA team, and every few summers you have a guy returning from Team USA, and he comes back, worked on his game, and he's just a step up. And I think Halliburton's going to do that. This guy's going to be an all-star again. This guy, watch out, Pacer fans. This is your time. This is your time. I think they're going to do really well this year and shock people. Get in the playoffs, no problem. And they didn't even make it last year, so look out. I think they got good things, but going with the Cavaliers in that division, a lot of people would have picked this team ahead of the Pacers. You got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, one of the best backcourts in the league, and they've been growing chemistry. So there's talks that Mitchell, he's not going to want to stick around long term, so maybe their play this year could change that. But, you had Max Strus signing big money to leave Miami. That's a big signing. To be honest with you and me, but I feel Okoro should start rather than Strus. I like Okoro. I think that guy doesn't ask for much and he just gets it done. So we'll see how what the coaching staff decides to do with Okoro and Struess. But the big thing here is Evan Mobley. How much more is he going to grow? This guy defensively, he could win Defense Player of the Year this year. This guy, his defensive numbers are insane. Like when you break down what he does on the floor, it's pretty phenomenal. He's long, and if he can add even a little more offense to this game, look out. You can make me just eat my words on shit on the Pacers if Mobley evolves the way he does, because he's the real deal on this team. They have Mitchell, Garland. Aren't those the guys to watch? They are, but keep your eyes on Evan Mobley. I think this team is as good as he will let them be. Chicago Bulls. Oh, Chicago. If only Lonzo Ball's knee held up when he was playing a few years ago now. They were the best team in the league. And since he's got hurt, DeMar DeRozan and Zach, don't call me Avril Lavigne, they haven't meshed well without that point guard that steadies the ship for them. They need that guy. Kobe White, great player, but he's not going to be a point guard to be that guy for these guys. And I don't see this team meshing. I see them having big outbursts there. DeMar or Zach could go for 40 any given night. But I don't see this team doing any damage in the playoffs. They have a puncher's chance to make the play-in, as they did last year. But I think this team gets blown up. Just saying, switch it up in Chicago. But the basement of this division, Detroit, this team they're young. They're real young. They're going to take their bumps and bruises, but I'm really happy to see Cade Cunningham come back after missing basically all last year. This, like I said, they'll be frustrating at times, and they may be the most fun team to watch at times. That's how you go with the youngsters, but yeah, lots to watch in Detroit. One of the Thompson twins, watching him in preseason was something else, so exciting, but maybe not so much on the winning side. So that leaves us with the last division in the East, the Southeast. The Miami Heat made the finals last season, despite playing in the play-in game, even though they won the division. Yeah, crunch those numbers. But they didn't win the Damian Lillard sweepstakes, and they lost some depth with Max Strus, who I had mentioned earlier, and Gabe Vincent going to the Lakers. So this is the opportunity for Tyler Hero, He was in all the trade talks. He was as good as moved. He had his shit packed, and he's sticking around, and he's got to show his team that he did the right thing keeping me, This team has Heat culture, as they always call it. They'll turn it up as the playoffs near, so I see them being a playoff team, hopefully not relying on the play-in. Playoff Jimmy's a real thing, so let's see how they can, go a little step higher. Adebayo he's been a really solid player, but maybe this is the year he takes his game to an even higher level. We'll see. I don't know if they'll win the division, but I see them getting into the playoffs. So who wins this division, if not the Heat? That question plagued me a bit leading up to this, because there's some young up-and-comers in this division, but gotta go with the Atlanta Hawks, right? On paper, team's most talented, really deep, really good look, really tough defensive matchup, minus Trae Young. But say you get by Trae Young, you got to deal with DeJounte Murray. You got to deal with DeAndre Hunter. You got to deal with Clint Capella. It's a very good defensive squad, I believe. And under Quinn Snyder, I think their offense is going to start clicking. And right out of the gates, the Hawks are going to soar. And this division's theirs, I believe, even though they have some up-and-coming teams like the Orlando Magic. This team, I think they're ready to contend for at least a play-in, Like Patrick Beverley said, you have two of the players rated in the top 50 by, I believe it was ESPN stats, giving out their top 100 players. So Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner, two young studs, these guys, very young, very dynamic. And, they've had another year to grow. So I see them doing great things. They both worked for their international teams this year. Franz Wagner on part of that Germany winning team, and Banchero playing for USA, not Italy. And I see them doing great things. They're going to have a few more struggles again because they are young, but I think this team's got to be a play-in team. Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, they got to raise their game up a bit. Two really high picks. They got to play, like Cole Anthony just signed an extension, so this team needs to step up. I think Joe Ingles is the exact right veteran for this club. Funny Australian dude. He's going to fit right in, but remind everyone, hey, this is your fucking job. And let's go Markelle Fultz. How can you hate on Markelle Fultz? Everything he's been through, I hope he has a great year. Brings the Washington Wizards. And this team brings similar vibes that I was bringing with the Nets. The only difference is this team's got a lot of championship pedigree. Acquiring Jordan Poole from the Warriors and losing Bradley Beal, that's a big shakeup. But you replace one of the best scorers in the game with a pretty good gunner who's never been that guy, but he's been on a championship team. So I've never seen a bigger green light in my life than what Jordan Poole's going to have. We're going to see 40-point games out of him this year, maybe even a 50. Yeah, Jordan Poole might drop a 50 burger this year. But if he can get consistent enough play from himself and Kyle Kuzma and some of these other guys on the Wizards, like this team can make the play-in. It's that wild. They could be this low, they could be this high. It's wizard magic, I guess. But yeah, we'll see what happens with them. Like Tyus Jones at starting point guard, I think he's such a steady dude. Having him running that ship is amazing. And Bilal Coulibaly, he's a teammate of Victor Wembanyama. Wemby was getting all the spotlight, and this French star snuck right under the radar. He's raw, but he's athletic, and he's going to fit right in with this Wizards team because there's not going to be a lot of expectations on him personally. So he's going to grow within this offense, and he's going to have a great year. Watch out for him. He's going to make some highlights. And that leaves us with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm really excited to see LaMelo Ball back. He had some ankle injuries last year, and he's a star. He's really good. Love him or hate him, he's a good player. I like LaMelo. I got his jersey hanging in my closet. Brandon Miller, he's a fantastic rookie that no one's talking about because of this insane rookie class we're getting. And Miles Bridges is returning eventually, but his domestic violence stuff, it's crazy he's even getting back on the court. But it says the team's been in talks with him, and they're, trying to help him work through it, and he will return. And he really meshed with LaMelo Ball. So, yeah, I think they're going to do things when he comes back, but I don't think this team is going to be in the play-in or even the postseason. I don't know where the Hornets go from here. It seems like Michael Jordan jumped ship by selling the team, but we'll see. With LaMelo Ball, if he gets hot, anything can get going. He's a great distributor, and if he gets his team believing in themselves, who knows? And now here we go to the Wiki Wild Wild West. Like I said, this is a hard conference to choose. There's title contenders all over the damn place. But let's start with the Northwest, defending NBA champions, Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic has decided to take some time off horse racing in Serbia to come play basketball again. And they're looking to be the first team to repeat since the Golden State Warriors back in 2018. And they could pull it off, but losing guys like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, they're big losses. So Christian Brown, you got to step up a little bit and fill the role there. And this year, Jamal Murray finally makes an All-Star game. That feels weird to say with all his postseason accolades, but he's never made an All-Star game. So let's get Jamal Murray, another Canadian, in there. And teams will be nipping at their heels, but I feel this will be the Nuggets division to win. A heel nippler here. We'll talk about team that was just on the cover of Slam's new edition, the OK City Thunder. You've heard me talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander nonstop on this podcast. From his plays with Canada, his plays with the Thunder, first team All-NBA last year. This guy's the real deal, and the rest of the world got to see him play when he was playing for Canada this summer, leading them to a silver medal. First time in a long time. So he's the real deal. This team isn't a one-trick pony. They're a little more stacked than you think. They earned that Slam cover. They got Giddey from Australia. Chet Holmgren missed his entire rookie year with that foot injury. He's coming back. A legit threat to win Rookie of the Year. You got the Jalen Williams, both spelled different Jalens. This team is legit. Lou Dort, another Canadian out of Montreal. I love watching the Thunder. I know they're in my Spurs division, but man, I really enjoy watching them. We'll see what happens this year. But man, get your popcorn and watch the OK City Thunder. And they still have 1,000 draft picks. Madness. But for the third best team in this division, it was a tough one. I wanted to go with my heart, but my gut led me to Salt Lake. And the Jazz, I think they're going to improve even from last season. John Collins finally getting traded out of Atlanta. He'll be a great front court addition to Markkanen and Kessler. Maybe that lineup's too big. They might get beat by quicker guys, but I don't know. This bench is pretty deep, too. You got some international flair in there. Danny Ainge has done a great job building this team up pretty quickly after getting rid of stars Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. It's a quick turnaround for them. Very impressive, but that's all Danny Ainge does, right? He builds great teams. And some may have this team ranked higher, but I have a hard time trusting them. I'm, of course, talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know. On paper, they look like they should be a contender, but this big man combination just hasn't worked with Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. They haven't meshed. To be fair, Towns missed a lot of games last year, which impacted them growing chemistry. But I don't know. I feel like those guys clog the lane and they keep Ant-Man out. Anthony Edwards needs room to fly. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll work on some spacing issues, knock down some threes. If you become a better shooting team, it opens everything up, obviously. But I don't know. I still don't trust this Timberwolves team. We'll see what happens with them. Maybe they'll make me look dumb and easily make the playoffs, but we'll find out, I guess. And that leaves the Trailblazers, right? With all said and done, they managed to get a pretty good haul for Damian Lillard after he demanded a trade. Like, the starting five looks pretty good. You got Scoot Henderson. Maybe he'll be rookie of the year. I don't know. Everyone has a shot. Anthony Simon's going to get some more time. Matisse Thybulle, great defensive guy. Or even Shaden Sharp, who could probably jump over the basketball hoop. His hops are insane. And then you have Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton. Team screams youth, but there's a few vets in there that this team could flirt with the play-in, you know? It'd be very strange for a team to unload a superstar and still make the play-in, but I think, you know, it's a big if. But, you know, DeAndre dominating, as he's been calling himself, plays big, and Malcolm Brogdon's a great vet. I imagine he'll be traded at some point to a championship contender, but if he sticks around, him and Chauncey Billups helping to develop Scoot Henderson, look out. That's just what that franchise needs. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, DeAndre Ayton, this is his time to play like a goat rather than being the scapegoat in Phoenix. So yeah, a lot of doors of opportunities for the Trailblazers, and we'll see who opens them. We'll go to the Southwest. Another one you look at it and you're like, damn, a few teams could win this division. So I'll start with the Dallas Mavericks. They end up re-signing Kyrie Irving to have that Luka-Kyrie combo. It didn't gel as much as they were hoping last year, but we'll see if an off season together and, you know, preseason and all that jazz, see how they come into a season together. You know, it's different getting traded mid-season than coming through with a training camp, right? And this team's a little deeper, especially picking Grant Williams up from the Celtics. That toughness is something they really needed, so I like that. And Derek Lively coming out of Duke, love this pick for this guy. This athletic big man's going to be catching so many alley-oops. I've mentioned it on this show before. I like that pick, and he's going to look like Tyson Chandler throwing down oops on this Mavericks team. They missed out in the playoffs last year. I do not see that happening this year. We'll jump to Memphis, the Grizzlies. I feel bad for them. I feel like they had some really high hopes coming in. You know, they shedded Dylan Brooks, making him a scapegoat, bringing Marcus Smart in from Boston. We knew Ja Morant was going to miss the first 25 games due to suspension. But Aquaman, Steven Adams, it was announced he had underwent knee surgery and will miss the entire season. That's huge. They're a different team with Steven Adams out of the game defensively. Their numbers drop quite a bit. I know you have Jaren Jackson Jr. there, but him alongside Steven Adams, that's what you want. But that's a tough one. You're bringing Derrick Rose in. You know, he played college in Memphis. Everyone loves Derrick Rose. We all hate how his injuries ruined. Like, he still has a great career, but he was the youngest MVP ever in the history of the game. But anyway, I digress. He's going to be a good vet for this team. I don't know if he's close to regular rotation contributor. I think he's closer to mentor, but he'll help fill in that gap until Morant gets back. And yeah, defensive player of the year, I mentioned him, Jaren Jackson Jr. It's going to be tougher for him playing just solo again without his partner Steven Adams there, and he put some good minutes in with Team USA. A lot of issues fouling, and this team can't have him not being on the floor due to fouls, so it's something I hope he kind of works on and takes care of this season. But I can't hold off anymore. I gotta talk about San Antonio Spurs. I can't remember the last time I was this excited for a season. Bam, bam, bam. But man, Victor Wembanyama. This guy, his highlights are insane. You see photos when he's closing out on a shot. It looks like someone's holding a lacrosse stick up or something to block your shot. It does not make sense. Like, the Spurs team is super young. Vasily signed another deal. You got Keldon Johnson there. I don't know if everybody knows a lot of the Spurs, but I watch them all the time. These are my guys, and I feel we're gonna take our bumps this year, but don't be surprised if we sneak in a play-in game. You know, I don't want to talk title aspirations yet. I am delusional, but not that delusional. But I believe this team could flirt with a play-in game if we get in there. You know, we could surprise a team, take a game or two. And the Wemby factor, like I'm saying, no one's had this much hype on them since LeBron James. Like I said, that was... I can't believe it. It's amazing. I'm so excited, almost speechless. Wednesday night when they take on the Mavs, I will be glued to my television. Oh, but yeah, there are a few teams that could win this division. I have to include the New Orleans Pelicans. Williamson is returning after all that negative publicity he was getting last season off the court, but he's healthy and ready to get back to doing what he does best, and that's dominating in the game of basketball. When Zion plays, this team is a legit contender. When he's not, they're just still a really good team, but their aspirations change entirely without him. CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, pretty good 1-2 punch, and Herb Jones and Jonas Valanciunas, they do all the dirty work for you. So this team can contend, but I'm reiterating, they go as far as Zion will take him. If he's healthy, I think they'll have an amazing season. If he's not, they'll be a pretty good team flirting with the play-in again, but they go as Zion goes. Wrapping up this division, Houston Rockets, I mentioned they acquired or signed Dylan Brooks. Very good vet for them, but this team is super young. Jalen Green, Jamari Smith, Alperen Sengun, Tyrese Eason, and rookies Amon Thompson and Cam Whitmore. All young beasts. Now they need to play and develop. They'll take a few more bumps as they grow, but having Dylan Brooks and, like I mentioned, Fred VanVleet, they picked him up. These are two pros in the league that you want mentoring your youngins. Van Vliet, undrafted, worked his ass off to get in the league. Brooks, a second round pick out of Oregon. Like, these weren't first round guys, and they know what it takes to stick in the league. And Ime Udoka, he is the right guy to right this ship. In a few years, watch out for this Houston team. I'm giving him a 2-year window. After 2 years, I expect them to be in the playoffs. It might be a little steep, but that's how I see them developing. And Udoka's the right guy. He still has that baggage with how he left in Boston, with the firing of, the extramarital affair he was having with a staff member. But, that's in the past. He's in Houston now. Let's see what these young guys can do. And now our last division, it may be the toughest in the league. Any of these 5 teams can end up winning the division. Like, that much talent. Start with the Golden State Warriors. This new look team for sure. Sending punching bag Jordan Poole to the Wizards and bringing back former foe Chris Paul. Very interesting to see how Chris Paul plays alongside Steph Curry. And how much more is Steve Kerr going to trust Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody? Are they going to step up and play some big minutes? And there's a lot of talks. Klay Thompson and the Warriors are very far apart on contract negotiations. So is this the last hurrah with Klay and Golden State? Could be, but don't count this team out with Steph and Curry. Especially with that extra motivation to try to get CP3 a ring. You never know. Here's a team that I'm expecting big things. The Los Angeles Lakers. They had a huge run to make the playoffs, and in the playoffs before getting bounced by the Nuggets. And the Nuggets, they rubbed it in the Lakers' face. So I don't think the Lakers have forgotten that. But it's insane to be saying LeBron James is entering 21st season. This guy's been playing pro since I was in high school. That's insane. My entire adult life, and he's still doing it at a high clip. Like, I'm thinking the Lakers are hoping Anthony Davis can start taking the reins and making it his team if he can stay on the floor. I don't like the name street clothes. It's I laughed at it, but it's kind of rough. The guy is hurt a lot and he just wants to play and do his job. So hopefully he can stay on the court and take the reins from LeBron. But Christian Wood and Gabe Vincent, great additions for this team, getting even more depth on a deep team. And Austin Reeves played pretty good for Team USA, so expect him to be even better. Legit team, legit title contending team. Watch out for the Lakers. Going to the Clippers, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this could be a title team. The talent's all there. It's getting all this talent to play at the same time. That's the problem. The league brought in new rules and regulations about resting players and saying you can't rest 2 stars on one night, and some are saying this is a direct attack at the Clippers, but hopefully they're healthy enough to go, because Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, that we talked about good duos, that may be the best duo. Like, this team is deep too. Terrence Mann has been named in the starting spot, so he's been improving, and he's a guy that this team wouldn't include in any trades for James Harden or anything, so they really believe in the guy, right? And leaving there, we'll go to the desert. Another team that could win a title. But this big 3 is legit. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal coming into town. Bradley Beal led the league in scoring while being the number 1 guy that everyone knew was the number 1 guy, getting all the best opposing defenders and everything. He's going to a team with Booker and KD. He's going to see wide open looks he hasn't seen since probably his days at Florida. Like, this is insane. This team offensively, again, health is everything in the NBA, but if this team stays healthy, I don't see many teams stopping them. Yusuf Nurkic, he's big. He's a more of a budget center compared to Aiton, but again, he doesn't stay on the floor very much. Sometimes the best availability or the best ability is availability. So we'll see. This all comes down to injuries, but watch out for the Suns. And that leaves us with the Sacramento Kings. They caught the league off guard last year, finishing third in the West. So they don't have that element of surprise, but this team's legit. Mike Brown's done a great work there. De'Aaron Fox, he's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. I have his jersey in the closet because this guy's a beast. Love watching him play. Sabonis should be back healthy, and we see when he's healthy, this team's a whole different team. And Keegan Murray, the amazing rookie last year that surprised people, is going to be even better. So, yeah, watch out for the Kings. That whole division is a team of watchouts. They're all phenomenal, and it should be exciting to see what happens out there. But it's all said and done, let's wrap up those division title winners. I picked Celtics winning the Atlantic, Milwaukee the Central, the Atlanta Hawks the Southeast. Out west, I have the Nuggets winning the Northwest, the New Orleans Pelicans winning the Southwest, right? You heard it here. And Phoenix will take the Pacific. The West is going to be a dogfight, though. Any of those teams could be interchangeable in the standings come playoff time. It's so deep. Like, the disparity of the West and the East is crazy. But let's go to trophies. MVP. My MVP choice. I'm shooting for the fucking moon, y'all. First American to win the award since James Harden in 2018. Zion Williamson. If he stays healthy, the Pelicans forward will win the MVP. I feel there are some other guys that are on some other teams that are very dynamic and capable of winning, but I feel like they're playing next to MVP caliber players, and that might take some points away from them. So in saying that, I believe Zion, if healthy, will win the MVP. Defensive Player of the Year. To be the best defender, you usually, on a good team, you got your numbers, but you got to be winning as well. And as much as I see the Atlanta Hawks improving this year, I see their anchor, Clint Capella, taking home the hardware. Rookie of the Year, this is a tough one. I've mentioned some great rookies all over the place. Like Wembanyama should be the easy pick, but like I mentioned Brandon Miller in Charlotte, Scoot Henderson in Portland. These are guys that are going to get a lot of touches. And that's what I think is going to hurt Chet Holmgren. He would have been my pick for Rookie of the Year, but I believe OKC is just too deep now. There's too many other people touching the ball that are going to take away big numbers from Holmgren. And saying that, Wembanyama, I think he's going to get the ball right away in San Antonio. He's going to get the numbers. He's going to get the impact. He's going to get the Rookie of the Year. Boom. Most improved player. Red City likes to make some risky choices. And it's, I'm going to pick a guy who was in 4th last year in the Rookie of the Year, so I don't know if there's a big most improved from that, but I believe there is. Benedict Mathurin, Montreal, Canada, Indiana Pacers. I'm hyping up the Pacers, and Mathurin's going to be a big part of it. He's going to improve that points per game. He's going to improve his defense. He's going to improve everything. He's going to take some hardware home in his sophomore season. Coach of the Year, you're either a dominant team way above everybody, or you're a guy that turns around a sinking ship and makes them a formidable ship. Pacers missed out on the playoffs last year. With the improvements I'm expecting this year, see Rick Carlisle picking up his second Coach of the Year award. His last coming in 2001-2002. A bit of a gap when he won it back with the Pistons. And before I make my finals predictions, I'd bring up the in-season tournament. Something new in the NBA this year. Similar to the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA or European footy competitions like the FA Cup. Being a whole new concept to the league, I feel the teams will be playing it a little differently depending on where they sit expectations-wise. So you obviously play to win the game, as Herm Edwards eloquently put it, but I could see top teams going with younger, undeveloped lineups, much like the FA Cup in the UK. You'll see Man City or Liverpool infuse some young talent with the regular squad to get them some big game time minutes. I feel teams with title aspirations will go that route, while the younger teams, like I said, they'll put all their chips in this in-season tournament basket. And in saying that, I believe the first ever NBA Cup will be awarded to the Orlando Magic. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. The Orlando Magic will win the first ever in-season tournament with Franz Wagner winning MVP. Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to think of the end of the season. I'm so damn pumped for the beginning, but let's do it. NBA Finals. I see the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, not really outside the box. Those are two kind of favorites to do it, but I see another finals loss for LeBron James, unfortunately. Giannis Antetokounmpo will raise his second Larry O'Brien trophy, getting Finals MVP along the way, getting Dame Dolla his first ever NBA championship ring in his first season with the Bucks. I know, like I said, it's not very risky going with Lakers Bucks, but literally you could take Lakers' name out and plug like 6 or 7 other teams from the West. It's that wild. The West is that wild. I have an East team winning it. Ain't that a bee? But yeah, season tips off tonight. 2 juicy games. You got finals favorite, the Lakers, visiting the Nuggets to face last year's champions. There's going to be a lot of shit talked in that game, so that's exciting. And then the game following that will be the Suns and Warriors, 2 teams that have hated each other the last few years, but now CP3 is in Golden State playing against the team he helped get to the finals a few years ago. I think this Golden State team will need a little more tinkering than the new Big Three in Phoenix, and I see the Suns winning big to open the season. And the Lakers, I see them going into Denver and winning as well. Road Warriors today. But Wednesday, 12 NBA games in action, including Wembanyama against Dallas. Can't wait. So damn excited. I've been talking to a few buddies about, getting together and talking hoops, and I thought, you know what? If you guys are cool, let's even put that shit on camera. Hoops talk. We'll get some kind of shit going. It's that damn exciting. I'm already shaking. I got goosebumps. So excited for the basketball season. Breathe it in. NBA season's here. I hope your team does well, unless they're playing my Spurs. All right? Have a great NBA season. Ren City out.